Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we take a stack of source material, even the most opaque, complex, or, well, in today's case, cryptic, and distill it into something you can actually use.
Today is a special challenge for sure. Our sources are from a document titled Critical Frontiers of the AI Future, but it doesn't read like a normal report.
Not at all.
It's more like a collection of abstract, fragmented notes. We're looking at symbols, some very specific English words, and then this highly repetitive pattern of international characters.
Yeah, it felt like reading a roadmap written in a mix of ancient runes and, I don't know, future code. So our mission here is to break down these specific symbolic and linguistic patterns.
Right, to really understand what core critical frontiers for AI development the author was actually trying to identify.
Exactly. We're going to treat these notes as kind of priority map for the future of artificial intelligence.
And that's, I think, the right way to approach it. In documents like this, abstract language isn't meant to obscure things, it's meant to emphasize them. We need to treat high repetition and these deliberate symbolic choices, the glyphs, the fragmented words, as the real indicators.
The indicators of their deepest concerns.
Yes. Things like advanced capability, necessary security, ethical measurement, and global scale. If it's repeated dozens of times, you can be pretty sure it's the primary concern.
So let's start with the very first cluster of concepts. They appear right after the introduction, and they really set the scene. We see the unmistakable robot, or AI itself, and it's flanked by OSEC, the magnifying glass, and the swirl or vortex.
If we look at just those first three, they really establish the what and the how of the problem. The robot, that's the subject. The magnifying glass, OSEC, well, that suggests the process is one of intense scrutiny, right? Search, deep investigation.
So AI discovery isn't just accidental.
Not at all. It needs focused, targeted effort.
Okay, and the swirl, that's an interesting one. It suggests motion, but maybe chaos.
I think it reflects the dynamic environment. The swirl or vortex, especially when you pair it with AI development, suggests the speed, the complexity, and, potentially the inherent turbulence of the whole process.
Right.
This is not a stable, linear field. It's a rapidly accelerating, sort of swirling environment where new capabilities emerge almost daily. So the first frontier isn't a specific technology. It's just acknowledging the demanding, chaotic nature of the R&D process itself.
Okay, that makes sense. It covers the process and the subject. But then right after those broad symbols, we get a very specific, very tangible English noun, scalpel. Why jump from the vortex of research straight to a surgical tool?
That's the pivot from theory to application, and it's one of the most significant insights in the whole document, I think. The scalpel demands precision surgical, fine-tuning, hyper-accuracy.
But you might ask, why is precision a frontier? Don't we already have precise AI?
I was just about to ask that. I mean, if AI can already beat us at chess and detect tumors sometimes better than humans, why is precision still a frontier instead of just a feature we already have?
Yeah.
Because the frontier involves moving beyond generalized or, probabilistic precision into the realm of sensitive, irreplaceable intervention. Think about personalized medicine at the molecular level or real-time infrastructural management.
Like adjusting the power grid during a disaster.
Exactly. Or implementing immediate corrective measures in a fleet of self-driving cars. In those scenarios, one error cannot be tolerated. The scalpel implies that for AI to move into those true critical decision-making roles, the precision has to be absolute, not just statistically reliable.
So the difference between a high-confidence prediction and a zero-tolerance action. That's huge shift.
That shift in expectation is the frontier.
Wow. Okay, so now we move to the next set of concepts, and they expand the scope dramatically. We go from a surgical tool to an organism and then a planetary view.
This is where it gets really interesting.
We get the octopus and the globe. The transition feels immense. How does the scalpel's precision relate to an 8-limbed creature?
The octopus is just a beautiful symbolic representation of the required capability. It represents, complexity, multi-limbed action, and decentralized intelligence.
Decentralized intelligence, okay.
The source material is telling us that future AI systems won't just solve one deep problem, that scalpel task. They have to solve many simultaneous diverse problems across varied systems and domains.
Can you give us a practical example of what that multi-limbed action would look like? Outside of the ocean, I mean.
Sure. Imagine a massive enterprise AI tasked with navigating global supply chains. operations. It's not just tracking a package. It has to simultaneously manage inventory data, real-time geopolitical risk in shipping lanes, localized customs compliance across 50 countries,
Oh, wow.
fluctuating currency valuations, predictive labor shortages. All of those things are happening at the same time independently, yet they all have to remain coherent.
I see. That's the octopus's capability.
Exactly. Adaptability and integration across highly diverse systems without a human coordinating every single move.
The coordination of complexity. I get it. And then this complex, surgically precise intelligence is immediately paired with the globe.
And the globe establishes the essential context for everything we've just discussed. If the capability is the octopus, its domain is the entire planet.
Yeah.
The frontier isn't just in Silicon Valley or Beijing.
It's inherently global.
Inherently global in scope. And that signals that deployment, impact, and therefore all the regulatory challenges of this AI are geographically boundless. It puts immense pressure on governance systems, which brings us to the next and most dominant theme.
Okay, so while precision, complexity, and global scope set the stage,
they all lead to one central, inescapable problem that the source material just obsesses over.
the repetition. I mean, it's not just a theme. It's almost a rhythmic chant in the source material. After these initial concepts, the text is overwhelmingly dedicated to variations of one core idea: balance and measurement.
Precisely. The author clearly sees this as the overriding critical frontier. The very first symbolic clue is the scales of justice. She said that immediately introduces the need for an ethical, regulatory, or equitable weighing process.
It suggests capability alone isn't enough.
Not even close. And then the text just descends into that bizarre repetition, alliance globe, over and over again.
It's like a system alert screaming that balance is needed across the globe.
That repetition isn't just stylistic, it's a structural clue. The overwhelming message is that the ability to achieve and maintain balance in global AI systems is the central hurdle.
And what kind of balance are we talking about?
Well, balance in power distribution, who controls the AI balancing access between nations, balancing the risk of deployment against the benefits, and crucially, ensuring algorithmic fairness across highly varied legal and cultural jurisdictions. The sheer volume of this repetition just confirms it. It's the #1 frontier.
It almost implies that the speed of the vortex and the complexity of the octopus have outrun our ability to weigh them properly.
That's a very astute way to put it. The technological momentum, the vortex, has created a complexity, the octopus, that urgently needs governance, the scales. But the source goes deeper than just the English word balance.
Right. It gives us clues about how to achieve that balance through specific international language.
Let's talk about the Chinese characters, because this is where the nuance moves beyond general ethical weighing and into something more tactical. Quantitative measurement.
Right.
The source uses 2 specific characters for scale or balance extensively. The first is Cheng. This literally means a scale or balance used for weighing physical items.
So a focus on quantitative, measurable inputs and output.
Exactly. It means we have to look at hard metrics.
What would those quantifiable metrics be in the world of AI?
They're the measurable outcomes. Energy consumption, the actual carbon footprint of large language models, quantified bias scores against specific demographic data sets, the precise measure of employment displacement, or the measurable velocity of disinformation spread. It demands that we stop talking generally about impact and start measuring the real physical and economic quantities affected by AI deployment. It's the data scientist's scale.
That makes perfect sense. We need the numbers. But the source immediately pairs with a second character, ping, which seems to complicate the picture.
It does. Also means a balance or a scale, but critically it also means a board, like a chessboard or a Go board.
Ah, so that shifts the interpretation.
It shifts it from quantitative measurement to strategic decision-making and weighing options. If C is the data, C is the long-term multi-move strategy.
That's a vital distinction.
Yeah.
So it's not enough just to measure the initial bias or the energy used, the data. We also have to strategically weigh the long-term, non-quantifiable consequences.
The second and third order effects, the game,
Exactly.
forces us to ask, if we deploy a powerful, globally scaled AI, even one that passes all the quantifiable bias tests, how does that move affect national sovereignty? How does it reshape human agency over time? How does it play out in a geopolitical rivalry? These are strategic ethical outcomes that you can't just input into a simple data scale. They have to be strategically weighed like moves on a board. This dual mandate quantitative measurement with strategic weighing is, according to the source, the core challenge of the AI future.
That deep dive into the concept of balance really confirms its priority. So let's integrate the final two elements from the text, the brain and the armor, back into this cohesive framework.
Okay. We see the Chinese characters for tatio, which is the brain or core intelligence. This is the engine of the capability, the raw power inside the robot we saw at the beginning.
The source of it all.
And if the critical frontier is precision and global complexity, then managing and expanding this core intelligence remains a frontier in itself. But it's not an isolated one. It requires protection.
And that brings us to Kujing, the armor.
Yes, armor or protection. The source notes that intelligence and protection must be developed in tandem. We establish that the AI is the octopus operating across the globe with the scalpel's precision.
Which creates an incredibly large and vulnerable threat surface.
Exactly. So, security and resilience indicates that protection against misuse or catastrophic malfunction or a state-sponsored attack is not secondary to development. It has to be a co-equal frontier. The faster the brain develops, the stronger the armor must be.
So if we synthesize all these abstract notes for someone trying to gain quick insight into the AI future, what are the three inescapable pillars that define these critical frontiers?
We have a highly coherent framework built directly from these symbols and all that repetition.
Okay, pillar one, precision and complex capability. This is the technical ambition, right? Represented by the scalpel, the octopus, and the brain. It's about building intelligent, highly capable systems that can operate simultaneously across diverse domains with hyper-accuracy.
Then pillar two, global scope and security. That's represented by the globe and the armor. The application is worldwide, so the defense mechanisms have to match the global nature of the threats. Intelligence must be resilient.
And pillar three, which is the dominant lesson from this whole deep dive, fundamental balance and measurement. This is the governance imperative signaled by the UREC, the endless Allen's repetitions in those dual Chinese characters, see and still.
Demanding both quantitative data measurement and strategic long-term ethical weighing.
So the overwhelming takeaway is that the future of AI is defined less by technical breakthroughs alone.
Far less. And far more by the social, ethical, and regulatory challenge of weighing that intelligence's global impact and ensuring its deployment is proportional and fair. Without the scales, the brain and the scalpel just become liabilities on a global stage.
That was a tremendous deep dive into a profoundly unusual source. It really shows that even a fragmented symbolic document can reveal crystal clear priorities just through pattern recognition.
The message couldn't be clearer.
The complexity is solved, the balance is not.
And that leads us to the crucial final thought for you, the learner, that builds on this source material. If the critical frontier is so fundamentally about balance demanded by the symbols like and defined by that contrast between quantitative measurement and strategic assessment, what specific high-stakes trade-offs must we, as a global society, start weighing today to ensure that the Allen's globe truly holds tomorrow?
A huge question.
It is, because it requires more than just better code. It requires global, synchronized policy action that respects both the measurable impact and the strategic consequences.
A lot to think about as you navigate the complexities of our increasingly intelligent world. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.